Hey y'all, it's Angie and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm going to be joined with my good friend and mentor, Eric Lewis. He invited me on his platform to talk about finances for the month of September, but today's topic is about ownership. So stay tuned for that. I'm waiting for him to get on the Zoom call and we are going to chat about that. I'm sure it's going to be a great conversation. I'll have his information linked below so that you can go and listen to the audio all month long where I will be featured. We have a lot to talk about, so I hope that you all go and check me out over there. Again, all of his information will be linked below so you will know where to find me. And if you're wondering what this is around my neck, this is a mask because that's a way of life right now. But what I want to talk about in particular is the lanyard. Look at this lanyard for the mask. You see that heart? It's a little charm on the lanyard for the mask. Now, when you purchase the lanyard from Tiffy Cat Creates, it does not come with the mask. The mask is totally up to you, whatever mask you decide to use, because these lanyards are detachable, so you can put it on anyone that you may have. But it kind of keeps your mask clean and out of the way, so you're not having it just hanging around here or hanging from here. Like, what if you wanted to take a selfie? Your mask is in a way you can't take a selfie. You got to take it off and then either put it down somewhere and at risk of getting germs. You can take your selfie. And your mask is not in a way. It even looks like it could be a chain. So this is like a 16 or 18-inch chain length. And this right here is 25 inches. So you can determine if you want it to sit up higher or you want it to sit up lower. Make sure that you do keep your mask with the inside protected so that the world of germs that is out there in the world is not on the inside of your mask. It kind of keeps it just a little bit protected. And even if you lean up against something, it's not touching the inside of your mask. You want to make sure to kind of keep it folded that way and keep it out of the way so you can be cute with your mask and your lanyard. And see, it kind of matches. It looks like it's a necklace, right? Cute. She also has like material ones, so if you don't want this size chain, you want a bigger chain, or you want some type of material, that is there as well. But she has some pictures and everything on Facebook. You can go and check her out there. It's Tiffy Cat Creates. It's Tiffykat Creates, Kreates. And I'll have her information linked down below as well if you want to get your lanyard. Again, it does not come with the mask. The mask is separate. You have to buy your own mask. But the lanyard is detachable and removable, and you can put it on any mask you have. Isn't that cute? Representing NOLA. So yeah, check her out, you guys, and check me out over on Eric's channel on his podcast platform. And I hope that you all enjoyed this video. So get a pen and paper out because you know we're going to be dropping some gems. Bye, guys. Enjoy.
I swear this is my first time actually ever doing a video, so I'm not nervous by any chance or whatever, but it's interesting, very.
Oh my
Very.
goodness! Yay!
So
Yay!
yeah, my inaugural video or whatever. I may start me an Instagram or not Instagram, a YouTube video channel and put this
You
on there.
should. I mean, it'll add to your filmmaking capabilities. You know, your multi-talentedness.
Oh my goodness. Here you go. Bucking my head up again, and I appreciate it.
Well,
Go on, keep talking. But as you know, everyone, thank y'all so much for listening in. And in this instance, thank you so much for viewing this episode of the Imma Keep Going podcast. I have an absolutely amazing person. I mean, I just can't say anything. I can't say anything bad about you. I never have said anything bad about you.
You tell that to all your guests.
Yeah, I probably do.
But I am pretty amazing, though. I am.
That you are. If you don't know, she is a resident of the show. You've been on the show a lot more times than any other guest, which is an amazing feat.
And I am so grateful for you for always inviting little old me back to your world.
Well, it's for one reason particularly, because you always have something good to say. And especially when it comes to right now. Yeah, you always have something important and vital to bring to the table. Every time we have conversations, just random conversations about stuff, yes. You're always giving me insight. I'm giving you insight. And it's like, we can talk for hours on end and, it never it never fails. We'll end up being like, girl, let me let you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, boy, let me let you go. So
I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but let me say this one thing. And
right.
guess what happened to me this week? And yeah, but it's an
Exactly.
even exchange. We both, we fuel and feed each other, so
I
it's
agree.
not one sided.
I agree. I agree totally. And if you don't know, it's the absolute amazing Angie Mitchell with the
Yes.
Sincerely Angie podcast.
Hi.
Yeah. So thank you so much for listening or for joining again.
Yes.
And look, we got to get to the shits, man, because
Yes.
there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Right.
Obviously, with COVID happening, and racism and everything. That's just it's very, very important in society right now. And there are certain things that are being overlooked, like
Yes.
like the ability to make some type of money, generate money, revenue, as well
Yes.
as being able to create opportunities for yourself. And
Mhm.
um, one of the main reasons why we wanted to do video this time around is because we want people to be able to see, like, hey, this is what's going on. Like, y'all
Yes.
need to understand, like, y'all need to see our faces and understand the significance in what's happening. And
Mhm.
if you don't know, you need to start doing some research on finances, on budgeting, on building, building up your money, you know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
creating opportunities for yourself. And one of the reasons why we're talking today, which we have several different things, but one of the reasons why we're talking today is because if you don't know, Facebook has implemented some new guidelines effective October 1st of 2020, which is in less than a month. And I presented it to Angie, and I was like, I think we need to talk about this a little bit more
Mhm.
in detail, because we talked about it once before on the podcast episode on the, I think it was on your Sincerely Angie podcast, right?
Yes, it was
Yeah,
because we've been on each other's platforms so much and we've talked about so much. But yes, controlling your content. So
right,
it was Dear Content Control, I think, or
right.
Control Content, one of those. But yes, we did talk about that. But now with Facebook's new guidelines.
Yeah, it's important, y'all, that you understand the rules and the regulations beyond be with this regarding this, because again, it may end up affecting you. So
Hmm.
so if you don't know, Facebook is implementing a rule starting on October 1st that prohibits or that they will seem they will deem important enough to remove content
Hmm.
in relation to something that they may feel is in detriment to their company.
Yes.
So, as you know, the freedom of speech and, things like that is slowly kind of going away. And, when it comes to these large platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, slowly but surely your freedom of speech is being removed.
Right.
And I wanted to bring you on there because I know just last week or not too long ago, you mentioned on your YouTube channel about branding, and how
Hmm.
branding is very important right now,
Yes.
especially when you're trying to create a business and when you're trying to expand business and things like that. And a lot of times people will have their entire brand on these social media platforms.
Hmm.
And I gave the example, say for instance, you have a hairline or a hair care line, and you promote primarily on social media instead of
Hmm.
directing people to your website or anything like that. You promote direct heavily on social media. Your entire business thrives from social media.
Hmm.
Well, you can turn around and make and say something in regards to the upcoming election, and Facebook has the authority, if they want, to pull your entire page down.
Yeah.
And what you don't know is, once your information is on Facebook or on Instagram, pictures, video, whatever, it becomes
It's
property of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
yeah.
And so I wanted to bring you on, obviously, so we could talk about that, talk about how important it is to brand, and how important it is to keep your stuff off these platforms and start looking at other opportunities.
Yes. So one thing that you said, and you just kind of breezed right by it, and I just wanted to stop you and say, can you press rewind and say that again? Because I don't think they got it. And for the people in the back, like they say,
Right.
but what you said was that they can remove the content that you posted if they seemed it to be important for their platform. And I'm like, I wanted to say, just say that again. Do you understand what he just said? He just said that they can take your content whatever they say is, oh, this is not a good look for us, or this is not what we deem appropriate, and they take it off of their platform. That's their platform, so they have a right to take your stuff off of it. So I mean, I wanted to shout to the masses just now when you said that. Now, I did not always arrive at the point of wanting my own website. I was not always there, and it didn't happen until about 2 years ago. And I've talked about this before. I was in the car with Anitra and Paris, and they were talking. It was like, girl, get your website. I'm like, I don't want to have to deal with the maintenance. And then, of course, you and I got on the phone, and you're like, oh, it doesn't take all of that. Just buy a domain and utilize this particular site, and it makes it your own, basically.
Right.
So I went that route. I purchased a domain and all of that. But I had not always been this person that believed in having my own stuff. So what I did was I did go and purchase the domain, and then I did go ahead and create a website for myself so that I can transfer a lot of my content over to my own site. So, you know, the world goes crazy when Instagram is down, when Twitter is down. I think it's rarely happened to Facebook, but you know, if Instagram feed is not refreshing or they can't post something, everybody goes to Twitter and they're like, what's wrong with Instagram and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you had your own site and you had traffic going to your own site, you would not necessarily be out of money when Instagram is down, because a lot of the influencers will go crazy when Instagram was down because they couldn't make money. But if you had your own platform, you had your own site, that wouldn't be a factor for you. Instagram or Facebook or Twitter would just be another outlet, but it would not be your main source of traffic.
I agree. And I'm glad you said that too, because just recently, maybe about 6 or 7 months ago, of course, we know that Instagram had an issue and Instagram went down again. And
Yes,
this is like the
again.
third or fourth, right? This is like the third or fourth time in a couple of years that they've actually went down. And obviously, the influence and everything, the influencers, they were going completely nuts.
Nuts, yes.
This is their main moneymaker. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember one time before, somebody said on social media, she said, you can use social media as a commercial. Don't use it as your actual business.
Yes.
Use social media as a commercial to direct people to your site or to direct people somewhere else. Then it will be a lot easier for you in the event of these downtimes or
Yes.
these issues that happen with these social medias. Because again, you cannot rely on 100% uptime when it comes
No.
to social media or whatever, because it can go down at any moment. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
severe hack. And
Yeah.
if somebody hacks your page, then guess what? All of your stuff can be lost. It can be gone
Yes.
in a minute. So these are some of the things you said just now are very important, because people need to understand that you don't own that. You don't own it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to figure out a way to be able to place your stuff on. Well, not even
On
figure out a way. It's easy.
it's easy.
You mentioned it just now, how you were able to, like how, Paris and Nitra and, myself, we were telling you, hey, man, get a website. It's easier. So in the event something happens, people know, oh, damn, I know a new episode dropped. I know it's on. Oh, okay. Go
Mm-hmm.
to our website and go to it. You know what I mean?
There's somewhere else that you can go. That is not the only, that's not the be all end all of your content creations, or your being is not tied solely to Instagram. And I
Right.
remember having a conversation, and we went back and forth, and we were talking about how social media, well, my argument or my debate was that social media is not the end all be all of any business. And the other person was saying how, yes, it is. It's a large part of business, and if you don't have social media, your business is not going to thrive. And I just was like, I don't buy into that at all. You're placing, like you talked about, again, I wanted to say again, stop, press pause, rewind, and shout it again for the people in the back, but censorship. So I can't use my freedom of speech on your platform. Listen to that. Me, I can't say what I want to say on your platform, but if I have my own platform, I can say and do whatever I want because it's mine. I own it. It's my platform. Nobody's going to delete my content. So you can't go on Facebook and you can't talk about 45, or you can't talk about Joe Biden, or you can't talk about whatever it is that you would like to talk about, because guess what? It's their platform. And if they deem it necessary, they're going to take your stuff down and may even delete your whole account. And
Yep.
what you've done on that account, you've stored pictures, you have memories of uh times in your life that may have happened that you've documented or something like that, and this platform takes your content down, then what do? So no, ownership is necessary. So buying a website, owning your own domain, and having that, it's completely necessary. And who wants to be censored? Like you said, we have freedom of speech. Why can't I say what I want to say? But I get it, it's their platform. That's like if somebody came to my platform saying whatever they think they want to say, I can delete their comment, or I can delete their activity, or whatever the case may be, on my platform, but it's mine.
I agree. And it's funny you say that, because you mentioned just now about, owning all of your content, and we talked about this also, intellectual properties.
Yes.
And when it comes to owning your product, this is something that is yours for years
Mm-hmm.
and years and decades. This is stuff that you can carry down or pass down to your
Yes,
legacy, leave a
legacy.
legacy for.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you are placing all of your legacy on social media or on these platforms, it no longer becomes your leg.
Your
It no longer becomes yours. It becomes
Yeah.
theirs. It's a property of
Yeah.
theirs. So why would you want to place all of your hard-earned work, everything that you've done on these platforms, knowing after you listen to this, they can remove it at any moment,
Yes.
and they can
Yes.
pull it, and you have no way to get that information back if they deem it's inappropriate for their site. And
Their
like I said a
site.
few seconds ago, when, hey, if I have my platform, I can take stuff off my platform because it's my platform. So what
Yeah.
you submit to me, it's mine. I can remove
Mm-hmm.
it if I don't feel it conducive to the topic at hand, or to the overall arch of my platform. I can remove.
Right.
So you can't really fault them for doing it.
Not at
You know,
all.
you can't
Not at
fault them at
all.
all. What you want to do is, but at the same time, if your freedom of rights, or if your freedom of speech is being revoked, then you need to figure out a way to, to get it back by
Right.
owning your own.
And at the end of the day, for the larger platforms, they're a corporation. They're basically a job, and we can get into that a little bit down the line in this video. But it's business for them. So it has to be business for you at the end of the day. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to support these platforms, but it just means that you'll have your own particular platform that you can have whatever sponsorships you want. You can have whatever type of traffic you want. You're not limited because of someone else's platform. And it's it's so massive, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those platforms are so massive, but at the end of the day, they're all combining and buying one another out. Facebook bought out Instagram, Google bought out YouTube. So it's like they're different, but they're still connected. YouTube is still connected to Google. Facebook is connected to Instagram. They're one and the same now. At first it was different. They had different CEOs or different um owners, but they were bought out. So now they're connected. So what you can and cannot do on Facebook is going to eventually, if it's not like that now on Instagram, it'll get to that point because they're one and the same.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And it's just like, any type of ownership or whatever. If, let's just say, if you are an employee, and, just to break it down for the people, if you're an employee, and if I work for, Sincerely Angie's company, and Sincerely Angie is bought out by, I don't know, Microsoft, or when Sincerely Angie is bought out by Microsoft.
Yeah.
But what happens is, Sincerely Angie no longer becomes owner of that Sincerely Angie podcast. Microsoft
Mm-hmm.
now becomes owner of that podcast. So
Yes.
if I were to post something on there which you would have thought was cool, or because by you being the CEO of Sincerely Angie, you would have thought it was appropriate, but
Mm-hmm.
bosses at Microsoft said, "Oh,
Not so
I don't know
much.
about that."
Yeah.
Yeah, then guess what? You have to honor what they say. You have to follow
Yeah.
their rules,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to pull it down. Which again, it's a hierarchy that you have to kind of follow. But again, if you own your own, you
Yes.
have your own intellectual property, then guess what? You are the hierarchy. You are
You
that
are.
person. The
Yes.
only thing that you're responsible for is making sure that your content and the quality of your content is still amazing.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And I guess that kind of brings me to the point of knowing when to leave, and like basically taking a job, keeping a job, taking a chance, leaving, when to leave. Like,
Right.
you're not going to leave social media, but when it comes to jobs and stuff like that, like, how do you know when to make your move, or just stick in there and tough it out?
And tough it out. Oh, that's a good one. um, like myself, I'm pretty sure there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people who are at a point where they feel, okay, you know what, I'm sick of this job. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not to say that I'm sick of my job, because I actually like what I do. I
That's
actually like it
good.
a lot. But at the same time, when you know it's not, when you know it's not fulfilling,
Yeah.
there there leaves a hole in your soul. You know, wanting more, craving more.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that I actually, it's funny because I just looked at an episode of something yesterday on YouTube about when's the best time to remove yourself from something, or when is the best time to look at different levels of income, or create different levels of income. And he gave 7 steps on how to create different levels of income. One of the
Mm-hmm.
main ones he says, of course, is, your earned income, which is your current job. But what he said was, that doesn't, just because this is your current earned income, that doesn't mean that it's going to be your future earned
Right.
income. So
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do is you want to look at your job as a silent investor. I remember having a conversation with Paris about this a long time ago. And,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about ownership and things like that. And she said, the job that I have now, I'm only using them as a silent partner. They're a silent
Yes.
investor. And once I get to a certain space where I know I can supplement my income, my current earned income, with my future gross profits or whatever, or my
Mm-hmm.
future profits, then it's time for me to go. And
Right.
so, when she said that, obviously it stuck with me. And then this guy that I was looking at, which I'm not going to put his name on social media or whatever, or Facebook, because, or I'm not going to put his name out there because
Out there.
he's not paying me. So I ain't going to put his name out there. Um, but he said, yeah, use your earned income to do things like invest in stock, like, purchase real estate, like get into real
Yes.
estate, like, getting into real estate investment funds, or, just, or put your money into a savings account that earns interest,
Yes.
things like that. So,
Yes.
um, to answer your question, when do I think is the best time to leave, is when you are at a point where for me, I'm leaving when I can make the exact amount that I was able to make on my earned income. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
after taxes. So for instance, with my business, I have a couple of businesses, and when those businesses generate the exact same amount of revenue
Mm-hmm.
that my job does, then it's time for me to leave. And the reason why is because at that point, I no longer have to work for somebody to make the exact same amount of money. You get
Right.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and a lot of times other people are like, well, maybe you should maybe you should wait until you make more than whatever your earned income is. And I'm like, no, if you can make the exact same amount, then I can live comfortably off the exact same amount that I'm making now. The only difference is I won't be as stressed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just putting a number out there. Let's just say 3,000 a month. If I can generate, or once I generate 3,000 a month in my residual income, or 3,000 a month in my future earned income, then I can remove my past earned income.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the goal. The goal for me is to get to that minimum amount of money, that minimum amount where I can,
Yeah.
you know what, I can now go, I can live life on my own terms, and I can just kind of do the things that I want to do. So
Yeah.
what about you though?
Well, it ties in with ownership. It ties in with the social media and somebody utilizing someone else's platform. So while you are working on someone else's job, you're doing it to fuel or to feed your dream, or your passion project, or your whatever it is that you have. So you're utilizing it to the point where when it does no longer fuel you or feed you, then you go on and you do your thing. So I have not always been in the entrepreneurial spirit. Never in my younger years did I think that I would be here today. But I did go through a phase where it was, do I stay on this job or do I leave? So I did take a chance. I was not taking a chance to start up any type of business or anything like that, but it was me making the decision. So coming from that experience, I think, and I've talked about it before, but I'll say it real quickly. I was on a job for 7 years. I was stressed out for a couple of years and I did not know why. And then it came to me all of a sudden what that issue was or where the stress was coming from. And it was the job. So I put in my 2 weeks notice and I quit. I did not have anything lined up. I didn't have anything in mind. I just knew that I had to leave that job. I left the job and I started looking about 2 months later. So it was a total of 4 months that I was out of work before I found another job. And the new job was making significantly less than what I was making, but I was no longer in that stressful environment that I was in. So I had to decide what's best for me in this time. Is it my health? And I think that this is a factor that you have to take into consideration. Number one, every situation is unique. So you have to look at your unique situation. You can't look at mine and say, well, she did this. Well, I also had 5 figures saved up. So I was able to live off of my savings for a while before I needed to start looking. You have to take into the situation is situational. So while I may have been able to do it because maybe I was in an apartment, I was not in an apartment, but maybe that's my story, that I was in an apartment where you're in a house, so you can't do that. So
Right.
it's like, certain things, well, nobody really should just be quitting the job without having any backup plan.
And
That
all
was a lesson learned, but it was either my health or it was a job. And I
yeah.
figured that my health was much more important.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
and you're right about that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, no problem. So you have to take into consideration your unique situation. You have to take into consideration your goals. If I quit this job, am I still going to be able to maintain or reach my goals? You have to think about those type of things when you are debating quitting a job or leaving a job and taking a chance on life or whatever life has to offer. So I think it's so many things that you would just have to consider. It's not just, I would not encourage anybody to just quit, but your health, if it's a stressful situation, or if your peace is at stake, you have to weigh those options. What does that peace mean to you? Do you want to stick it here at this particular place and you know you're forego your peace for a while, or do you think that if you leave now and you have that peace, that you'll be at liberty to do other things that you want to do, I guess.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. There's a couple of pieces that I do want to kind of allude to when it comes to um creating that escape for yourself, because a lot
Mhm.
of times what we need to do is a lot of times people don't have a backup plan. Like, for you, even when you started or when you say, you know what, I got to go, your sanity was obviously much more important than
Yes.
the amount of money you were getting paid. But at the same time, you had a backup plan.
Yeah.
You had your backup. You had your contingency plan, which was your
Savings.
your savings.
Mhm.
So you knew, okay, you know what, I can leave. I have enough to leave if I need to.
Yes,
If it
all
ever
things
gets
were
to a point.
considered.
Exactly. So and that I don't want to get that confused with the average person who doesn't have any money saved up
Yes.
and who is just at their wits end and decides to leave. You had a
Yes,
backup plan. You
I
A lot of
did.
times people just quit just because they're just like super emotional and they just get on a whim. They're like, you know what? I just quit. I'm just putting my
Yeah.
hands in. I don't know anything. I don't know what's going to happen or whatever. But I'm glad you did it with a plan. And that's
Mhm.
the thing that I want to kind of stress to people now. Whenever you do have Whenever it's time for you to leave, have a plan. Have a
Have a
plan of
plan.
yeah.
Yes.
When your job is getting you to a point where it's completely unbearable, have a plan of action, have an exit strategy. Say,
Yeah.
okay, I need to make this amount of money in order for me to get the hell out of here comfortably
Yeah.
and leave and not have to work for a couple of months. And once you do it, and what's funny about that is a lot of times people, because I've done that before, and what
Mhm.
happens is a lot of times people find insight in once you once you create a plan of action, you find a lot more peace at knowing, okay, you know what, this is my plan. I am going to work this plan. And a lot of times people can find solace in knowing that, okay, because I have a plan of action, I know by the end of, let's just say, September of 2021, I'll be gone. I
Yeah.
know that. And what happens is once you create that plan, you begin implementing that plan to get you in a comfortable space to where you
Mhm.
can leave. And at that point, a lot of times people aren't as people don't get as stressed anymore because they know in the back of their mind they're leaving,
Yeah.
and so that's one of the things that I want to kind of allude to, because the idea of knowing if you have an exit strategy, and if you begin to implement that strategy, you can find peace in knowing that you have a plan in place, and knowing that no matter what they tell you,
Yes.
you can get the hell out of here, or
You
you're
know
going to
what's
get out of here.
you know what sticks out though as you were talking, that ownership has been the theme of what we're saying. So what you were just saying, you have to take ownership of your life. You have to be the one that says, I'm not tied to this job. They don't own me. I have a contingency plan. I have a backup plan. I don't have to stay here and suffer because they don't own me. And a lot of people feel like they're tied to this job or tied to this social media site. And you're not. If you take ownership of your life and you take ownership of your intellectual property, you won't have to feel tied to this particular website, this particular platform like Facebook or Instagram. And this is not a knock towards them. This is just basically saying, hey, wake up.
Yeah,
You own your life. You own your intellectual property. You own whoever you are and what you're doing in your life. Don't let somebody else be the dictator of what you have going on, so you don't feel tied to this job. You should have a plan. You should have some savings. You should have some type of backup plan. You should have something that, like I said, all things were considered. Now, I'm not saying for anyone to go out and just stop using social media, and I'm just saying don't be controlled by social media. You have to do the controlling. Your content is on there. They're making money off of you being on there. So take that and use that to your advantage.
right.
Like you said earlier, that the lady said, use social media as a commercial for your particular website or your particular platform. Don't be tied into it, because it's not the end all be all. Because if Instagram goes down, Twitter goes down, Facebook goes down, YouTube goes down, what are you going to do? How do you communicate with people? You don't have any platform, nothing. And again, I'm not knocking anyone because I just got here a couple of years ago, but now that I know, I would encourage everybody to get your own website, get your own platform, so that you can have people come and they have somewhere that they can find you if they can't find you on social media.
Yeah, it's okay. A couple of things. When you,
I know we're all over the place, but it's ownership. It's so much.
yeah,
It's
it's
a
ownership.
very broad topic.
I agree, and I think you may have said this a few minutes ago, about the idea of looking at social media as your employer. Social media
Mm-hmm.
is kind of your employer, because they tell you how to do certain things, what to do in certain situations, how to react to certain things, how to work this, and you can't have this on you can't have this on here, or whatever. So social media
Mm-hmm.
is like an employer, because a lot
Yeah.
of times people do get addicted to the amount of money, or the amount of, okay, so for an employer, they'll get addicted to the amount of money they can
Mm-hmm.
generate. But for social media, you get addicted to the amount of likes and followers you can generate. So it's all
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. But again, there's an employer that tells you, okay, even with the whole idea of Instagram now only showing your posts to 10% of the people, which again, this is from what I read, what they do now is they post, anytime you make a post, it doesn't go to all of your friends, all of your
At
followers,
all.
or whatever. It only posts to about 10% of your followers. And depending on how well it attracts those followers, then what will happen is it'll begin to add to more of your followers.
Mm-hmm.
So again, same as with a job, you're getting paid, you're doing some work, and you're doing an exceptional amount of work or whatever, but you're only getting paid a menial amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Why not take control of your life and take control of all of the things that you have?
Yes.
Again, you put your hard-earned money into something that only 10% of the people are going to see.
Yeah.
What's the point? I don't. It's not making sense. It hasn't made any sense to me anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, and y'all, that's the reason why we're on here. That's the
Yes.
reason why we're beginning to tell you. Even right now, I'm taking a social media fast, because for the entire month of September, and I
Mm-hmm.
may end up going into October, because it is an addiction. And you would think that, okay, man, damn, I don't have any social media or whatever, but I've been a lot more productive since
Yeah.
that. And again, you need your creative juices to flow, and you need all of these, you need to have your creativity back or whatever. And a lot of times your creativity feels stifled because it's not being shown to everyone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I
But
don't.
you know, not everybody knows that about the algorithm with Instagram, because a lot of people still believe that social media is like, oh, if I could get enough followers, then I'm gonna start making money. And it's like, yeah, nah, that there's still an algorithm that they utilize that you can have 1 million followers that may only equate to 100 sales. Like, it doesn't mean that just because you have 1 million followers, 1 million people is going to purchase from you, or they're going to go to your website. No, not everybody's going to see your stuff. Some people are there there are inactive accounts, so it doesn't necessarily mean that 1 million people would be actually 1 million people. It may only be 100,000 that are really just following you and really paying attention to your stuff.
Right.
So I mean, it not everybody knows that. And I think that one thing I push on all my sites, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on the podcast, I'm always telling people to do your research. And it is not hard. It does not involve a whole lot of reading. Not everybody is a reader. If you're not a reader and you don't want to read blog posts or articles, go to YouTube. If you're not a video person, go to the audio world podcast. They have so many experts that are giving you the tools that you need to succeed. That's the research you need to do. You don't have to. I mean, it's not that hard. And people, when you tell them to research, they're like, I ain't got time for that. No, if you're on Instagram scrolling all day, go and watch a video or IGTV of somebody talking about,
On
hey, look.
how to create it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I get it. I get it. It's research seems like a task, but it really is. Once you, well, I believe, I hope that once you do start to do your research, you become engulfed in it, and or you're just kind of like, okay, so let me go find this now. Let me go find this now. I hope that everybody gets that reaction, because that's how I am. Like, I asked you, I'm like, well, what is it with the new guidelines? Because I didn't really hear anything. And then when I started looking, I'm like, okay, so see, and then they got to do more and more research. And it's like, it just takes a minute, y'all. Just do the research and see that these sites are, it's like I said earlier, it's a corporation. They're making money and we're working for them, basically.
Yeah, we really are. And think about it like this. Would you want your, okay, so Steve Harvey said a long time ago, that as long as you're working for someone else, you'll never be as rich as that person.
Yes.
So do you want to allow this company to control how you create a business, or how
Yeah.
you broadcast yourself, or how you know, become creative or whatever? Do you want a business, some type of company to be in your pockets like that, or to be in your creative brain like that?
No.
Um, I believe what we need to do is I think we need to explain how simple it is to the people,
Hmm.
because a lot of times we'll sit up here and we'll complain about it and we'll say, hey, it's not the right thing to do, but I think we need to start giving steps on how to do this.
Yes.
So I already have my list of steps, or I have an idea on how to get it started. But what about you? Like, so how did you start, like, doing everything, like from like you said, from like a couple of years ago to the Sincerely Angie podcast, or even to sincerelyangie.com? So
Okay.
how did you what were your steps?
All right. So the very first thing I did, I started out with a blog because my cousin was doing a blog and I wanted to support her, so I wanted to follow her. So I started a blog, and I started the blog on Tumblr. I did not post a whole lot, but then I eventually got to the point where I felt comfortable sharing the things that I had written down. And then I spoke with my good friend Eric here,
Oh,
and
sounds like a good guy.
and I was asking him about a website, and he said just purchase a domain and you can actually use Tumblr as your website. You can customize it. So granted, that is using Tumblr, which is it's a blog site, but it's much more than that. But you can use that. You can buy your domain and then it'll direct your traffic to that particular domain, which is connected to the Tumblr site. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then as time went on, I upgraded a bit and I went to WordPress. So that's how the website kind of started. And then the podcast just kind of came from the blog. And I felt like everybody wasn't that amped up or too hyped to read things. So I said, I like to talk. Let me just go ahead and do audio. So that's how the podcast came about. And then YouTube has always been a thing for me. I started YouTube, I think, in 2009 or maybe 2011.
Mm.
It may have been 2009, I think it was. And I had been recording videos and I stopped for a while and then I recently came back to recording videos. So all of that has just it happened over time and each thing kind of one thing led to another thing. So that's just kind of how it happened for me. I'm getting tongue tied.
No, you're good. You're fine. It's a simple. We look at it as a simple task because we
Mhm.
did the research, we did everything to figure out exactly how to be able to get it done. And the thing is, whenever you're doing your research or whatever, sometimes you're going to run across different like obstacles and things like that. But that's why you always have people that you can rely on. So,
Yes.
one of the things I do strongly recommend. Okay, so just breaking it down, from the very beginning again, what Angie did was start off buying a domain. You can go to
Yes.
GoDaddy. You can go to
GoDaddy.
Google, or what is it? Google G Suite, I think, from Google. You can go there. You can go to Yahoo. You can go anywhere and purchase a domain name. So for the people who don't know, your domain name would be like www dot whatever.com. Because normally,
SincerelyAngieM.com.
right. In this case,
Yeah.
sincerelyangiem.com. So,
Right.
um, so instead of it being sincerelyangiem.wordpress.com or sincerelyangiem.tumblr.com, it's
Mhm.
sincerelyangiem.com. So that's the step number one. Purchase a domain name. The domains are only what $11 for the year.
$11. Yes.
Yeah, for the year, for an entire year.
Yes.
And a lot of times, if you go through companies like GoDaddy or Google G Suite, once you purchase the domain name, they'll also give you an email account. So
Mhm.
with that domain name comes your email account. So right for you, it could be Angie at sincerelyangiem.com. Again, these are all steps that you will definitely want to take in order for you to seem a lot more professional when it comes to promoting your business or promoting
Yes.
your brand or whatever. You don't want people to have to type in a whole long www.whatever.com. You want them to
Yeah.
type in your name because again, that's branding. That's
Mhm.
all a part of branding.
Yes.
So, so that's step number one. Purchase a domain name. Again, $10. Sometimes they'll have like GoDaddy runs specials all the time for $2 for a whole
Yes.
year for the first year.
Mhm.
Just be sure to re-up, and they'll notify you obviously once
Yeah, they
you do that.
will.
Second thing is to look for a website. Look for
Mhm.
a hosting site
A
is what we
hosting
call it.
site. Yes.
A hosting site can be anything like again from Tumblr to which again Tumblr has its own things right now, has its own guidelines now, which is
Yes.
very similar in terms of freedom of speech. um, so looking for a WordPress, looking for Wix.com is
Mhm.
another one. um, uh,
Squarespace.
Squarespace is a very good one, a very good one.
Mhm.
Now these obviously will cost a little bit more money because they're having to maintain it for you. So you're
Yeah.
looking at anywhere between $10 to $30 a month, just depending on how significant you want your website to be or how sophisticated you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so once you invest in those two things, you buy that, you buy the domain name, then you buy the hosting site, then you can build it yourself. A lot of times
Yes.
these websites have like Squarespace or like Wix, they have templates that you can purchase.
Mhm.
Be um those templates can be easy, like just very simple to use. Um, and once you do that, then again, you begin to build the brand more, you build it more. So those are the three steps that I suggest doing, that I suggest you getting involved in, because once you do that, then you'll be able to modify it however you need to. You can update it. You can add
Yes.
additional information to it. And a lot of times, like especially with Squarespace and even with Wix, you can actually you can build your website directly from your cell phone. You can build it
That's
from your phone.
good. Yeah.
So you download the app on your Android phone, your iPhone, your iPad, or whatever, and you can literally build it from there, and
And
you can update
and
it.
building it is not, well, I'm not going to say the building part, but customizing it is not as hard because in my mind, when they were telling me to buy a website and to I'm like, I don't have time for the maintenance and I'm gonna have to go into programming and do all of this. I don't know where I got that thinking. It was just ignorant of me because I was not aware, but I did my research. I watched YouTube videos, and customizing it wasn't that hard, especially when you have the template. You see that somebody has a box here with the about me, and like, okay, so I can put this about myself. Or if they have a tab that says Twitter, oh, I can link my Twitter. So it gives you like ideas. So it's not that hard at all. All you have to do is plug in your information, and it's not hard. Because again, I was ignorant when it came to it. I thought I was going to have to find somebody to do the maintenance on my site, and no, I do it myself. You go in and it's very user friendly. It's
Yeah.
very user friendly. Yeah.
And it's very simple. It's again, it's extremely simple, extremely user friendly, and it doesn't take up a lot of time. The
At
only
all.
thing the only thing that takes up a lot of the time is if you're a perfectionist like me,
Yes.
you got to get it done. Got to be right. It's got to be right. And but yeah, it's very simple to do. And not only that, if you let's just say hypothetically, you don't even have the time to do it. There's
Hmm.
options. You can go to Fiverr.com. Fiverr, you can hire someone to do it for you.
Yes.
Tell them exactly what you want. They can do it for you.
Hmm.
Or you can go to I mean, shit, hell, you can reach out to any one of us.
And I was just about to say, or you can have a dope ass friend like Eric and use him, not use him, but utilize him as your mentor, and he can walk you through things. I mean,
Yeah,
he's my techie mentor. Like if I have any type of questions about anything that's like computer related, camera related, lighting related, film produce, he is the guy. Like, so you need to get you a him. You can't have him. He's mine,
that's right.
but you need to get you a him.
I'm telling you, it makes life so much easier because trust me, you're not the first person to do it, and you're not going to be the last person to do it. So
Yeah.
anybody who has went through these different trials and tribulations, I know, you know, you know how
Mhm.
much you've had to endure, you've had to go through or whatever just to be able to get it right. And
Yes.
reach out to someone who may know more than who will know more than
No
you.
more than
A
you.
lot of
Yes.
times they will know what to do. They'll know
Mhm.
exactly how to walk you through and how to navigate you through certain elements of the site, or the podcast, or just being able to create and customize a site like you want.
Yeah, and if it's the right person, and if they don't know the answer, the right person will say, "Hey, don't worry about it. I'm gonna find out for you, or I'm gonna find it out until I figure it out."
Yep,
So you get you somebody. And I encourage everybody to get them a mentor, and that's just basically somebody who you can go to who knows more than you in a specific area, and they're willing to walk you through and help you with certain things to get you where you need to be. So yes,
I agree.
that's another form of ownership. Get you somebody who you can go to that's going to help you and put you in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. Look, this is all about ownership. This
Yeah,
is
all
all
about
about
ownership.
being able to own um, the own your brand, own yourself. And I'd say this all the time: to own thyself, be true. You
Yes.
have to be able to do the things to get yourself in a higher position. And you
Mhm.
have to be able to understand why it's important to build that legacy.
Yeah.
Build it. Don't allow anyone to take the legacy from you. Build it yourself. Build your brand. Create the
Mhm.
brand. Build your intellectual property. Keep your intellectual properties. Save it.
Yes.
Don't allow anyone to try to sabotage it, or don't allow anyone to try to take it from you. And when we say intellectual properties, um, what do we mean by that? I'll let you explain it.
So this is all staying in the same thing. Are we getting into it? Are we getting into
Hey,
this? And
we can get into it, y'all. Before we get into it, let's just take a quick break, and we will be back in a few seconds.
okay.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for continuing to listen in and continuing to watch us on the I'ma Keep Going podcast. This is a first for me, and I mean, Angie, you're a pro at this, so
Yeah,
a little bit.
not really. I'm a novice. I'm not a pro.
Well, but thank y'all so much. But before the break, I had mentioned something about intellectual property. But before I get into that, because I know that's a whole nother conversation, I wanted to ask you something about social media that I just thought about. And we've preached over the last almost hour or so about why we should do it, but we never really talked about how we should start weaning ourselves off that. So what would be your suggestion in when it comes to weaning yourself off social media and starting to focus it more on your website or on your branding?
I would just always direct other people to the website and post for more content or for more information or for more the rest of this video go to. So it's kind of like cross promotion, is what I think it is considered. But I would definitely start by doing that. Now, I myself don't post a whole lot on social media, maybe once per week, but I am on there daily, but I am engaging. And so I think from those engagements, when people come to my particular page and they're clicking on different things, those who do click on the website, they may find something that they want, which will bring them back. But that would be my suggestion, is to point people in the direction of your website. Whether it's in the comments of your post or on the post itself, would be to say something like, visit me over at sincerelyangiem.com, or for more information, go to sincerelyangiem.com. So for me, I think that's how I would kind of wean my interactions from this platform to my platform.
Okay. Yeah. And I was thinking the same thing too, especially if you have a video or something like that, like a little small video that you want to post onto the Instagram or your social media page. You can
Mm-hmm.
do like, I like to say you can do kind of like how they do on OnlyFans. They'll give you like a little bit of a teaser, and then they'll end up having a black screen, say for more
Is
information, go to this
that
website.
what they do? I have
Allegedly.
never seen an OnlyFans anything, so I did not know that. I did not
Allegedly,
know.
that's what they do. Allegedly. So,
Allegedly.
but yeah, but that's what they do. Like what they'll do is they'll give you enough just to entice you. And as with anything else too, like if you go to, like I remember back in the old days, they used to give snippets, like radio snippets or whatever. I used to work for a radio station, and what
Mm-hmm.
they would do is they would give you like the little small snippets of a song, like 20, 30 seconds or whatever, and then when they begin to kind of gravitate over to the video section or whatever, they'll still give you those same 20 or 30-second snippet. But at the
Yeah.
end of it, it'll be like, for more information or for more of the song, go to this site or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's the same premise or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously a different circumstance or a different scenario, but but the idea is the same. You give them a
Yeah.
little bit, you tease them a little bit or whatever to get them wanting more, and then you direct them to the site. I
Yeah.
agree with you. I believe that's a really good way of being able to remove people, not necessarily remove them off social media
Redirect.
from you, but redirect them. Yeah, just
Yeah.
redirect them to much more. You get much more content on your
Mm-hmm.
website as you would on social media, because again, they still haven't. I don't know why Instagram still hasn't figured out a damn way to do hyperlinks on, but
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing. That is the weirdest thing.
right
The only hyperlink you can have is in your bio, but
it's in the
nothing
bio.
in the comments. And I see people all the time posting links in their comments, and I'm like, you can't copy and paste on social media. So the little I, the big G, the lowercase p, and the RD, nobody's going to remember that,
Right.
So you have to put it in your bio in order for people to, go there. So I recently opened up a Linktree account because I have so many different places that you can find me. I have a Shell Fuel Rewards link. I have a I bought a link. I have a website link. I have the YouTube. I have my Twitter. I have so many different links. Shutterfly links, Amazon affiliate links. There's so many different links that I have. And so I did go to Linktree and I put them all in one spot. So now I just kind of use the Linktree website or the Linktree link so that I can, if you want YouTube, hey, there it is right there. If you want to go to the blog, there it is right there. So that's another thing that I utilize to redirect people to where they may want to go. And I try to not necessarily cater to all audiences, but I do want to make sure that if you're looking strictly for the YouTube channel, there it is. I want to make it as easy as possible because I know people are lazy and I gotta go through all of that just to nope. You just gotta press YouTube and there it is. So
I'm
I
glad you
try
brought
my
that up.
hardest to make it easy.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because that's another thing that we kind of skipped over a little bit too, is that people think that once you have a website, then you can place all of your stuff on that one website. You don't necessarily have to do that. You don't have
No,
to place everything on that one website, even though,
no.
because there is a such thing as overload. You
Yes.
don't want you don't want to bombard the people with way too many things that's going on with you. So creating
Mm-hmm.
a link tree, free, free of charge.
Free. Yes.
So creating that Linktree account will allow you to be able to uh, direct people to where they want to go. Because again, you talk about so many things, on whether it be on your site, on your podcast, on your YouTube page. You talk about so many things like the Shell rewards, the Ibotta, You know, you talk about the Rakuten all the time, and you know,
Yes.
these are different things that, you know, again, instead of you having to go to the website to get all of this stuff, go to my link tree. And if you don't want to go to the website, or if you already
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you already subscribe to the website where you get the email, you get the emails, you know, whenever
Mm-hmm.
alerts.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want to have to go to the website. Let me just go to the to Ibotta, you know, because I know that she has a product code there. So let me go there
Mm-hmm.
and get that. So
Yeah.
a link tree is very, very, very important as well. I agree with that, especially when it comes to building your intellectual properties, and especially if you have multiple
Yes.
things that you have your hand in, like we
Yeah.
all do. You know, we all do.
Yeah, absolutely. And variety is the spice of life. And you never want to be boxed in. I don't believe you want to be boxed in. So you want to have your hand in many different pots, not as an overload, but as I can cater to this audience here, that audience for like I said earlier, for the person who wants to read, for the person who wants to view, or for the person who wants to listen. It's right here on a platter, right
Oh, there you
there.
go. What you need is right here.
La. Just right there. There you are. Yeah.
You know, you mentioned something just now, and I think that's something that we kind of like gloss over a lot. Not just you and I, but people in general. Reading. You know,
Yes. Fundamental.
we need to read. We need to come up with a book club or something, like, for real, because we have so
Yes.
many books that you and we talk about often, and we need to come up with some type of book club. So that may need to be another link tree uh, option,
Option. Yeah.
because again, people need to understand, you know, there are multiple ways of being able to generate money and generate revenue. And just reading, you know, I believe reading about how you can do these different tasks and these different things or whatever will allow you to better educate, to further educate yourself, and to be a lot more successful when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
building a brand, and you know, and creating a brand. So because a lot of people don't really know what to do, you know.
Yeah.
So reading, I am strongly encouraging people beginning to read more as well, and get your butt on
Yes.
social media just for a little bit of time.
Just for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah, read an hour a day. It doesn't hurt anything. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
read somewhere where a guy says he only reads 35 pages a day, but he reads 35 pages a day or whatever, and you know, whatever book, and before you know it, he's done with, you know, he's already hit like 4 books in a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I believe we should create some type of outlet also to let the people know who's listening and who's watching, you know, what we read, like what we like to read,
Right.
you know.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I'm
I
here for it. I'm down.
yeah, we need to do that. We definitely need to do that. So, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that up real quick before we get into intellectual properties, because again, I know that's going to be much more of a lengthy topic.
Oh yeah, that we a whole nother that's gonna be a whole nother episode. So yeah, we can cut this one short here, and then we can get into what intellectual property is and our thoughts on it. I'm with it.
Yeah, I'm with it too. Thank y'all so much for watching and for listening in to this inaugural edition of the I'm gonna keep going video podcast.
Yes.
Very special thanks to Angie, from Sincerely Angie, from the Sincerely Angie podcast, and sincerelyangiem.com. Thank you
Yes.
so much. As always, you are an amazing person, a wealth of knowledge, and you know,
Right behind you. Right behind you.
no, you're right next to me. No, you're like, I'm here, and you're like right here. You're right here. I taught
Uh-huh.
you well, young grasshopper. But no, but
Thank you.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And until the next time, y'all, just be on the lookout for the next episode. It's coming really soon, and we have more to talk about. So until next
Yes.
time, may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Of course, I am Eric. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.